Everybody doing good? Okay. Take a couple seconds at the beginning. We'll just make sure everybody gets a chance to say who they are, and then we will roll into it. That's right. Unless you have a cool ability like Zan's going to use, you've got to... yeah, you're going to get rid of them after one use. That is... Yeah, unless you have an ability and or unless you want to spend experience to make an artifact, which is a different thing. Most times, yeah, they're basically toss away technology. Hey, look at us. This screen is actually showing on Twitch. And my mic is live. It's always a good time to remember those things in tandem. Okay, and let's bring up our screen too with people. Everybody ready? And your faces are live. So we're having our nice chill Numenera stream where we're going to play some Numenera and everybody should have a great time. Hi, I'm Hans. This is my channel apparently. And I'm going to go around like this in the order in which people join the Zoom chat and you can just say hi. Kevin, you're up first. Sounds like every good role-playing game. Okay, Zan, do you want to go next? Thank you, and Kyle. Kyle, I have a very important question. Do you do a new mask and or head setup every time you play a character? Okay. And what percentage of this comes from like your theater props department, and what percentage of this are you doing by yourself? Okay, all right. I have to ask because you always come up with very entertaining things. It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. Okay. So today we start the Numenera Untold Legacy story. It's being streamed. That's not really the main goal of this, more than it gives us like a backlog and you get a chance to see what you did, but we're here to have fun. So today what I'm planning on doing, like I said earlier, is going through this first scene. As a general game, what to expect from this game. There's going to be a lot of experience points that you're going to get a chance to get. There should be enough at the end of this where you can do a character advancement, which is like one step towards the next tier, and you should have some to spend on rolls and so forth during this game. So don't expect to run out of experience points. That shouldn't happen, really. Also, don't worry about spending ciphers, because the point of the game is to use your ciphers and get new ones. So if something doesn't look super cool and you think you want to throw it away for flavor and just do something with it, go for it, because you probably won't end up finding yourself out of abilities or ciphers or things like that. We are going to have some good background here and get some characters, introduce some NPCs, and get into our first session. So, do you guys have any questions for me before we get going? Okay, as we start our scene 1 today, you are on the edge of your colony, the mother colony as it's called, and the sky above you is its typical kind of like a pea green with a gentle pink color behind it, like you would see every day. You can see the sun is a bright orange in the background. All of this different color refraction is due to the shield that protects the mother colony and prevents intrusion from the outside world. And at the very edge here, you're finding yourself looking at a portal. This portal is 2 tall struts that come together. They arch very slightly, so they look more organic than technical. And between these slim, kind of grayish metal bars, there's the flickering of a blue, it's more like an ozone color in the air. So you can't really firmly see the portal, but you can see the air difference from the portal going on right now. It's weird. I wish my chat wouldn't say that I'm hosting somebody else right now, but we'll give it one more chance to refresh. Okay, so as all this is going on, you can see that shimmer haze from the portal in the background. And to your right is the silent chorus. It's a group of people. They're actually fairly average height. The unusual thing is they're all almost exactly the same height. Their heads are slightly bowed. They're wearing long, dark gray robes that have a very silky, satiny sheen to them. They're all looking downwards at the ground, and in front of them is their leader, Kai Labry. Their uniform is much the same. They have a long cloak, but they wear it open down the front that's exposing that they keep their chest bare. And they have dark crimson pants that you can see just barely through the edge. Their head is turned, they're looking towards you, and their eyes are very calm. They always have a very calm demeanor. So they've got very angular, sharp features to their face, a long chin, cold eyes, and they're looking at you expectantly. On the other, these are people you see. You have not yet departed the mother colony through the portal. These are the people on one side of you that are waiting alongside. As the portal finally activates, they will travel with you. On the opposite side, you have a very different spectacle. You have the splendid form. Ho Shen, who is the leader or the central figure of the splendid form, is standing. He is holding in his hands a variety of small instruments. Some of them actually operate on one another, so they're kind of moving and doing their own thing. Other things he's taking and gently pressing things one way or another. Currently, in addition to his two hands, he also has two metal articulating arms that are coming over his shoulders and pressing and touching things as he goes. And his eyes kind of zoom and focus in on things as we move on. They're a very luminescent blue. And he has just tiny wispy hair, even tinier and wispier than my own, as he's standing here looking over these things very intently. The crowd around him is arrayed like peacocks or splendid birds because they're all wearing different colors. They have elaborate brocaded robes. Some people are wearing like short vests that come up to about their midriff, like just below their pectorals, and then long, like poofy, I'm thinking like Aladdin-style pants is what I'm going for right now. They all have very elaborate, very fanciful clothing. They're just dripping in jewels and jewelry right now. They don't look like they have any sort of manual skills at all. And they do have several large automated baggage carriers that are levitating, hovering behind them. So they're just all here. And none of them are paying attention to the portal at all. None of them have noticed you at all. So two very different scenarios going on to your left and right. Behind you, I'm going to say Jackie is the one who casts the gaze back to take a look at what's going on. While all the people of the mother colony are arrayed, there's a long cascading ramp, and everyone is kind of looking down at you. But at the base of the ramp, staring directly at you, arms crossed, eyes hard, mouth shut in a very tight line like this, and with a clear cut, like triangular beard, we see Verathon. Behind him, arrayed in a perfect V formation, is the Broken Arrow. Each person standing with their arms crossed like this, sword on their hip, bow across their back, as they watch to see what's happening. The portal in front of you is starting to spark and light up, and you see the edges are kind of like popping and flickering as it illuminates, and we get ready for transport here. And in this moment, we're going to take a second and do some flashbacks and talk about some characters in past. So, let's talk about what we see with Jackie. What does Jackie look like? Mm-hmm. Very good. So we're going to flash back about a week, about 7 days worth of time, to when the decision was made that you, Jackie, Paragon 9, and, pardon me one second, Tenlau, there we go, are going to be traveling on this journey. And when that happened, the Broken Arrow and Verathon were displaced from the settlement group in favor of the three of you. So this is our first GM intrusion. So, light's pretty terrible in my room. So, Kyle, one of these goes to you. You now have 1 experience point, and you get to gift another player with an experience point. Feel free to make your choice, and I know it's awkward going first, but we're going to get into more of these soon, so don't worry. So, who do you want to give it to? Okay, perfect. So we've got that taken care of. So in your experience points, if you guys have that, you just tally up 1, and you'll be ready to use those for later. Now, Verathon is meeting you in their quarters, which are immaculate, pristine. The furniture is all square. There's a square table, not a rectangle. It is a square. There are 4 square stools that sit up, and they are actually like cubes. They are exactly the right height to be both height, width, everything's the same. They have their windows, square, small, set high on the walls of their building. There are very small curtains that go across them that are all pulled back so that the light of the room is cascading down to the center, where Verathon is standing next to you on this hard stone floor. They still have their arms crossed in this scene, and they're looking at your face. None of the other members of the Broken Arrow are present. And they look at you and they say, "Tell me again why you think you are more valuable to this expedition than my militia." Verathon, of course, shakes his head, mouth still tight, and says, "Thinking like this is going to cause a lot of trouble for this seed colony." "I'll be there soon, and when I come, things better be in order." This very, very unexpected hug, you feel that tension as his shoulders immediately tighten, the muscles harden. He does not relax at all. And when you finish hugging, he says, "You should go." Which is awkward, maybe with the height difference. I'm imagining Verathon being very tall. So, all right. Yeah, you need to have some wingspan. That makes sense. Okay. All right. So we've had our touching Verathon scene, and you replay that in your mind. You can tell in his eyes that he's mentally sending you this image as that portal sparks to life. Let's go to a second flashback scene to keep things interesting. And we'll go to Paragon, since Paragon 9 got that experience point. Okay, Paragon. You're in Kylabri's quarters. This is very different. It is a cone, in the first place, the shape of the building. Second off, inside it is draped everywhere with long, flowing curtains that are, again, a very dark crimson. And the lights are in the background, so that they kind of shine through very briefly, and everything is obscured by these curtains. Kylabri is reclining on a bench, resting his head on his hand, very casually like this, open shirt, long crimson pants, not wearing the robe, and looking at you quizzically as you enter their quarters. Paragon 9. I'm hoping Kevin's not frozen. Hey, Kevin, are you frozen? Okay. Okay, I think we got a camera freeze, just so you know. So, no worries. I want to make sure I didn't lose you as I'm doing this elaborate scene here. So, as like that. So as give me just a second to fiddle with the overlay here. We'll get everybody back in. Bum 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 bum. Everyone change names, which is cool. We'll get this figured out. I gotta switch tags. Kyle goes over here. Sand goes up here. Oh, it did the huge thing. Just a couple seconds fiddling, guys, and we'll get back to this very interesting scene. That is right. They are known for their calming manner that is able to disarm people, and they're a very good negotiator. It is very unusual to have them be so uniform in height. But, okay, that looks good. Everybody's looking good. Let me refresh my overlay. Transition accomplished. There you go. Perfect. So Kylabri is looking at you from this reclining position. Paragon 9, I understand you will be joining us in this new settlement. What role do you think you are best suited to? Okay, Kevin, you're being given the option of a GM intrusion here. Do you choose to accept? Okay, because now you have a point, so I have to ask. So this is for you, and this one is for you to give to somebody else. Perfect. I love it when people share. Okay, so, yep. So at this point, Kylabri says, your height is acceptable. Have you considered becoming a part of the silent chorus? You do not have to say yes to this. That's not the GM intrusion. You have absolutely no idea of anything they do other than their fanatical devotion to this particular person. Kylabri focuses their eyes on you, and they run their hand along the inside of their vest, and it like parts a little bit more as they bring their hand over to their hip. I am sure that we will find you pleasing. This is the GM intrusion, by the way. This is as much as I'm going with this. Oh, really? Darn it. Bonnie, I thought I figured this all out. Okay, well, it's no fun if you can't hear everybody else. Thanks for the shout out here. Let's see what we can do. Let's get this to the correct thing. Okay. Bonnie, in about 10 seconds, you should be able to tell us if you're hearing something else. So, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about where we're at and see if you guys... So, Paragon 9 talk. How are you feeling about this overall scenario? Well, now I can't hear you. Can I have you guys just keep talking for a little bit? Anybody who wants to talk, it's good to talk. I'm just trying to figure out which of these audios... There we go. That's the one I need. Okay. Kevin, can you go back into your thing and we'll try it one more time? You haven't seen anybody stop being part of the silent chorus yet. So this may have a different reaction than some of the other factions. They seem very intent on their work, and they are rarely known to speak or do things without any sort of input. Wow. Okay, full in. Here we go. Good stuff. Let's keep going with this and have some fun. What I need you to do is make an intellect defense test. Okay, so you can't hear you guys at all. Got it. I totally want to know that, so thank you. Okay. Yeah, sorry about this. I'm terrible at everything. Oh, I know what it is. I know what I didn't do. I didn't unmute you guys on the mic. Okay.
There we go.
Hey, that should be everything we need forever. Great. I am very sorry, everyone. Bonnie, thanks for saying something. Bonnie is now officially our stream savior if this works out.
Okay.
Well,
Like,
yeah, we'll give it a couple seconds here. And Kevin, just keep talking your way through the intellect defense test, and we'll all know.
yeah. Well, okay. So I don't think I've done a intellect defense test. Can you just do I just roll straight intellect? I have one edge in
Yeah.
intellect. Would that apply to this?
Well, so here are the
Okay.
things you can
So I
do.
would.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you very much. Apparently, we are now audible, man, every single dang time. And it's always my fault. Okay, so here's what we need to know. You don't have the skill intellect defense. I don't see that there. So
I don't believe so.
it is right now an intellect test. I'm going to tell you the difficulty is 6, so it's going to be hard.
Okay.
If you want to apply
Okay.
effort, then what you do is you spend intellect. It would be 3 minus your edge of 1, so you'd be spending a total of 2.
Okay.
And if you want to use that rolling API, then that means that you're going to be putting the difficulty down as 6 and having that one, what's the word I'm looking for?
Effort is 1.
Yep,
Right.
effort is 1. That looks right, and everything looks good. And I think you would be getting rid of those assets of 2 because I don't think you have any assets on this test.
Yeah.
You know what? I will give you 1 asset for being you and the fact that you are
Okay.
basically half machine at this point.
Gotcha. Sorry, let me resize this. So 1 asset,
Yep,
and I'm untrained in intellect test.
correct. So it's just going to be flat roll there. Yeah.
All right. Big money, little whammy. No, hang on, come on. My
Okay.
shit's in the way. I don't know.
So
You guys know what the fuck.
you did okay. You were off by 2 on your roll, so it was pretty close. Now, one of the nice things about having experience is you can re-roll if you want to.
No, I'll take the failure. Failure's fun.
Awesome. Okay.
They can cut off my ankles to make me fit their height requirements. That's fine.
No. You know what's going to happen? We're going to flash back. As the scene finishes, we're all standing in this cone, or the camera is watching as you two are standing in this cone. Kylabri, still reclining like this, has not moved at all during this conversation, other than that movement of the shirt. And so now the curtains close over the camera like this, and you get that just like muted light where we can see your silhouette. And that's it. That's the entire flashback now. Man, your life is going to get more interesting. It's going to be great. Okay, so flashback scene number 3. Zan, we just talked about your eyes.
Yeah.
So in a off-game discussion, we talked about the fact that you're going to use your augments flesh with grafts. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So using that with one of my starting ciphers, the crafter's eyes, which give me informative images for crafting tasks on ciphers. So it's what I kind of imagine is these are described as lenses that kind of have almost like a Google Glass kind of feel. I imagine that Ten Lao finds a way to like almost embed them around the like the socket of the eye. So it's still technically in front of their eyes, but it is like embedded into the bone and skin around it with like wires coming out and connecting to like the sides of their temple and brain.
Heck yes, that sounds great. So you're envisioning like a circuit wire kind of like overlay going into the skull?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. And you know what we didn't do? Let me take, you know what, when we get back to the next scene, we're going to have to find out what Paragon 9 looks like. Because we did not do that. I'm sorry. So let's move on to finding out what Ten Lao looks like, including describing some of these lenses here.
Yeah. So Ten Lao is on the shorter side of humanoid. Very stocky, though, very strong. Wearing kind of a piecemeal armor. You can't really tell what is just an article of clothing and what might be partially embedded into their body. There is a lot of different things kind of like drawn on their skin, possibly in tattoo forms. Maybe they're plans for ciphers. Maybe they are symbols and markings that they found somewhere in a ruin. Hair is in a white mohawk all the way back. With like inside these kind of like glass pieces embedded over their eyes, and on both their arms strapped are these kind of glowing blades that are probably metal, but also probably augmented by something else from the technology that is now grafted to them.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay, so Ten Lao is in Ho Shen's laboratory. Do you consider yourself, when you keep your laboratory space, is it clean and orderly, or is it messy?
Well, it is very messy.
Okay. Ho Shen has the opposite. And you can tell the reason that they have the opposite is because there are right now about 15 different people who are walking around and carefully organizing things into drawers and ticking them off and writing them down. These are all those people you saw standing around that are part of the splendid form. They don't look like they're so much organizing things for Ho Shen's purposes. They actually look like they're completing bills of sale and inventory, like these things might be being sent off somewhere else. And these people, again, are dripping with jewelry and jewels. They're dressed in very fine clothes, the finest of anybody in the settlement. And it is almost certain that all these things will be sold without Ho Shen noticing. Ho Shen is standing in a small, like a half crescent, or no, like a crescent. Crescent's a half circle type shape, where they have an articulated keyboard or interface all around them. They're wearing those two articulated arms over their shoulders. So as they're crafting right now, they have their two hands. They have these arms like this. And then they're also occasionally pressing keys that make things float up to them, and they attach them to this device they're building. So they're very quickly manually assembling things. You can see some 3D projections over here to one side of them that are showing like the plan for this piece. And on the other side of them, they're writing notes in kind of a free space where they can just say like, well, I want this to do that, I want this to do that. You're catching some of the equations, but they're mirrored to you, so it's not perfectly easy to read. And you have these lenses now. We talked earlier about Ho Shen having eyes that kind of zoom in and out, and they're a luminous blue. They are the same sort of thing as yours, but constructed totally differently. And the look when Ho Shen sees you, it's mean. It's accusatory. The eyebrows, what little you can see of them, what little remains after the scar tissue kind of flare up. The nostrils flare. The eyes at the corner, you can see them pop. And the mouth tightens into a sharp line suddenly. Hey, by the way, this is for you, and this is for somebody else.
Awesome. I'll give it to Jackie.
Ho Shen looks at you and says, your face, you've modified it. Whose design is that?
It is.
It looks like one of mine.
I promise you it is not.
Clearly, someone has been showing you my notes.
If that is the case, then I had no understanding that they were your own. I found the plans for this in my searches in the areas around the settlement.
I find it unlikely that you would come up with something like this by yourself. I don't think that you have the creative mettle for such an endeavor.
My creativity while probably not matching your own, has quite a bit of power in its own right.
I find this hard to believe. My understanding was that the addition of you and your comrades to this group, this colonization effort, would be mostly for fabrication of existing structures. I didn't understand that you would be striking out on your own creative endeavors.
My creative endeavors will be to continue to advance the settlement. Although I understand that the items that you have will be helping us, I am key in making sure that everyone is going to survive.
It sounds like a very good piece of propaganda for explaining why you need to steal people's designs.
I maintain that the design is my own.
They go down to their dashboard, and there's a button. They do kind of like a raising up gesture, and suddenly the entire area around them goes opaque.
Mm-hmm.
So now they are just surrounded by a white, like, curtain of light.
Nice.
This conversation has been muted.
Yes, yes. Let's face it, this is my first invention I will have when we go into the Numenera age. That's going to be the first thing I come up with.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
So as we get back to the scene of the portal flickering to life and we get back to our present moment, there is just that cutting glare. We get the anime look where Hoshen looks and you see the eyes focus for just a moment on Zan, and it goes ka-ching, and there's a blade of energy that shoots directly at Ten Lao, and Ten Lao's eyes, I don't even know where you would be looking at this point.
I would probably be looking towards the portal, but I can feel that glare just at the side of my head, just like, oh, I'm not looking at him. I'm not looking over there.
Perfect. And this is how you start a
Called
colony.
out for that copyright infringement.
That's right. Yeah, we don't have any legal action. We're just going to have to fight.
Yep.
Hoshen's like the Numenera version of Cyclops.
Ooh, yeah. But all he does is make you feel really bad about your decisions.
Yeah. Well, of course, that's Cyclops.
Yeah, that's
for
Cyclops.
Oh, okay. Oh man, I got to get back up.
Ten
on my
Lao's
next
Wolverine.
There are worse mutants to be.
That's probably true. Okay. And speaking of mutants, we've got all of our Numenera things in order here to go through this portal. So the light, you can again see those little popping flashes around the edges, and the portal where before was kind of like an ozone sheen, it's coming into, now it goes shh, and it kind of like pulls in from the sides and focuses, and the beams of light interlace, and then suddenly the portal is hard light. It's a very light blue color, just filling up the space. You can't see anything on the other side. So when you step through this, it's a blind step, but it's time, and the light has filled the portal.
Is there music?
Is there music? Did you, from the people in the background or from the portal itself?
Yes.
Anyway, I guess.
Sure, maybe we should raise a simple orchestral number. Maybe there's kind of a procession going on. Why not, right?
Yeah, all right, like we know who is coming with us. We know who got left behind. Is anyone from the other settlement gathered here to wish us well and wave fond farewells, or to curse our names forevermore and be thankful to be rid of us?
I think definitely. Behind you in the distance, you have the people of your mother colony. They're behind the broken arrow, and they're kind of going up this ramp like we talked about. So that is going on in the background. So yes, let's get some music. There's far too many soundtracks.
We are replacing the broken arrow, and they're here in super passive aggressively watching us go.
They are not very passively aggressively. They are mostly aggressively watching you.
Straight up aggressive.
But then additionally in the background, you do have the other people who live in this colony. Yeah, I don't want to vet music on the fly because I have a feeling I'm going to do a bad job of it. But yes, in the game world, there is like a simple. You are getting the Numenera equivalent of bagpipes. It's like a simple keening tune that comes up high. It sounds very solemn, and it sounds like a farewell. But in the background also, there's like a light flute that has more of a happy note. And so there's a lot of high-pitched wind instrument going on right now.
Let us go quickly before we have to listen to any more of this.
Yes. So
It's not this
Kylabri...
bad.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, Zan.
Oh no, I was telling Jackie it wasn't as bad as he thought. I liked the music.
There you go. So in the
Bagpipes are usually associated with funerals. No, this is not a good sign.
yeah, Kylabri and the Silent Chorus are going forward first. They walk directly towards the portal, and at the last second before they walk through, Kylabri cuts eyes over and looks at Paragon 9. A brief look, and then back, and walks through the portal. And they walk forward, the light kind of surrounds them, goes around their outline until you can't see their back anymore, and then just closes up. There's no sound, there's no transfer energy or anything that looks in any way exciting about it, and they're just gone. Now, do you all want to go through before or after the splendid form?
Blast.
Do you want to just go through individually if we have different opinions? Like, is Paragon 9 just going to go through
That's
now?
fair.
I mean, I am part of the silent chorus. Apparently, I should join them, I suppose.
Okay, Paragon 9's going through.
Joining them, would they give me the uniform? Was I expected to stand?
No,
in
you know what? You
formation
actually
with them?
have not done anything more than this right now. That moment that you had with Kylabri, we're going to say that was about 2 days previous, and there has really been no follow-up that you remember.
You're like,
Is
you've
my
been checking
position
your
in the
junk
silent
mail,
chorus like public?
things come through.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, no
Ghosted you.
mail, no FedEx packages, nothing. You just have that roll.
Oh, my soul, I don't even get a copy of the contract.
That's right. Okay, so you go through. There's that sensation, you can feel the light is warm around you as you pass through it. And all of your, we didn't talk about this, so this is the time to talk about what Paragon 9 looks like.
Paragon 9, like from, I mean, if he wasn't given a uniform, he'll look like how he looked before. His, sort of the close-up shot on his face, it's all metal and metallic. He looks like, at face value, he looks like a robot, pretty much. Like if you're familiar with like the Exos from Destiny, he looks a lot like that. And like a lot of the metal pieces are painted like hazard yellow. And then like sort of zooming out, I imagine like it shows like the clothes he's wearing. And he's wearing like salvaged street clothes. Like he's wearing like Stussy, and like he's got like a hoodie and like harem pants, and he carries like his traveling pack. And on his traveling pack, he's got this long like sort of metal rod that's just like sharpened at the point.
Sounds good. I like it. Okay, so Paragon 9 passes through and you feel that energy surrounding you, and all of your electronic systems, all the the alerts, they immediately ping and like go into the red zone, and in a second you're through. And we'll find out what happened to you some other time in a second here. Okay, so we're letting Ho Shen and the Splendid Form go through before Jackie and Tenlao.
Yeah, I do a big, sweeping bow and gesture for them to go before us.
I also let them go before, but I kind of just do like a very almost curt step back and a quick nod. Just all right.
This is very good. I love how anime we've gotten this so far. It's excellent. I'm getting like the best visuals for this. So as Ho Shen and the Splendid Form move through, Ho Shen is on a direct course, paying attention to the portal. The things that are in their hands, they've actually stopped paying attention to, which seems like a very rare thing. But they are not crafting anything at the moment. But these onlookers or like patrons that form the Splendid Form, they're all kind of looking around, quizzically. Some of them are still talking. They're very casual about this whole thing. And when they walk into the portal, you can hear those like last moments of their conversation as they pass. And they're through. It's down to the two of you.
Would you like to go first, friend?
No, after you. People of the colony! And Jackie does this massive big speech where it's like, you will miss me, I know, but you have made the better choice, for I and my friends and these other people who I don't care so much about, because my dearest friend Marathon was not picked for this mission in order to allow me, Jackie, to go. Goodbye. I back towards the thing. The weeping is unnecessary, but much appreciated, and I will always... And that's when I passed through.
Very nice, very nice. So during this speech, did Tenlau pass through already?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that as Jackie started that speech, they just kind of go, "All right, that's what's happening," and just pass right through.
Okay, very good. And in terms of your graphs, do you feel like you would get the same sort of like warning displays and visual overlays, or are things pretty muted for you?
Um, I don't think it would be nearly to the same extent that Paragon 9 has, because mine are more of an addition rather than actually part of my form.
Yeah.
I'm sure something is kind of pinging or going off, but I don't think it would be like all the bells and whistles.
Okay.
I think it would be more like informative than warning signs.
Yeah. What you get is you get the sensation of the hairs on your neck standing up. That like bristling awareness of things becoming different as things happen. And it feels kind of like you're being watched for that moment as you pass through the portal. As Jackie steps through, not facing the portal, anything like that, there is a slight uplifting sensation, like you feel when you hover. And you just feel very supported by this portal and this energy. And in a moment, you find yourself transported. So we are now in a very different scene. So, the ground is flat in the immediate portal range. Beyond that, there is a bristling, broken structure where you see metal struts, pieces of overturned synth, which is anything that has like a plastic synthetic, let's say, feel texture, kind of layered around. There is a rushing river in the background, and you can hear a thunderous waterfall as it goes over the edge. You are only maybe 50 meters from the edge of a deep chasm that goes plunging into the earth. And below, all you can see is mist or fog or some sort of vapor rising up, almost filling this chasm entirely, and occasional broken rock struts sticking out from, let's say, spires, stalactites. Anyways, you see pieces of broken rock sticking up through the mist. As you all have finished stepping through, Jackie being the last, I'm going to say, are you going to turn? And no, let's keep you looking what you're looking at. The last thing you see is the light that was forming the portal. It breaks apart like this and just drifts into the distance. And you find yourself looking back and outwards at tall, sharp mountain peaks. It actually looks kind of like rock strata. If you've ever seen what happens when shale breaks and it kind of breaks and then there's another piece like this, everything is kind of broken juts of land. There's no road in the distance. There's nothing that looks like an easy way where you could cross over this. And right there, all around you, you have enormous spheres that are lying on the ground. Some of them have broken open, and they're kind of spilling cables out, kind of like an egg that's cracked. So that's what you see behind you. On the other side, Tenlau, Paragon, you see things differently. Tenlau, you can see the crater. You can see this chasm that's in front of you, that rushing waterfall. You see all the broken metal and the synth. Paragon 9, you may have your mind focused somewhere else, because at the moment what you can see is Kylabri and the Silent Chorus are all staying in that same single column that they passed through the portal in. They have not moved at all. Even their robes are frozen, slightly tilted in the air like this. They are not moving.
Do we see Hoshen around?
Yes. Hoshin and the Splendid Form have kind of moved over to one side, and you can see that Hoshin is already picking through and throwing things to the side. All of their onlookers are formed in like a loose huddle, and they're like clutching themselves and like looking around. This is mildly uncomfortable in terms of temperature. This is like a LA winter day. So we're talking, 60 degrees Fahrenheit, some unknowable number of degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, Kyle. And all this is going on. It's almost balmy with like a sea breeze in terms of like the weather. And they all look very shocked by this mild inconvenience. The sky, whereas inside of the mother colony, it has that greenish, orangish, pinkish hue. Here, it's blue, like a very light blue, and there are wisps of grayish cloud floating through the sky, a bright ball of yellow sun in the distance. And yeah, they're not reacting to that at all well.
And the Hoshen and his folks, they don't seem like at all concerned or interested in the fact that the silent course are just standing there and like sort of motionless, not affected by the wind at all currently?
No, they're not affected by that at all. And if I can reference a recent event, this is like watching a documentary about Firefest. These are all the people who came imagining a luxury experience, and they are shocked and dismayed by the idea that there is nothing prepared for them at all.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Where are the cheese sandwiches?
Yeah, you guys wait until you open those crates up. We'll see.
Um,
So Jackie steps through, and the first word is nothing.
Yeah, and the portal was just maybe a little bit different timing than you expected in terms of distance. Yeah. And so you see that
That was the
light
last
wink up.
words Jackie was going to say was nothing.
Yep. And now your audience is a
Nothing-
field of broken
nothing-
spheres.
nothing what?
And then Jackie turns around and sees everything in front of her or him and says, "Nothing?"
Nothing? No, this is unlimited possibility, like as far as I can see.
But no actual possibilities have been realized.
Not yet, no, but that's why we are here.
Now, there was one
Okay.
other set
We,
of...
we are the realizers of the possibilities.
Yep. I do have a couple other things I'm going to throw in here. Before the silent chorus passed through, there was some gear transported. So looking forward of where the portal is, there's like a long, flat package like this that's laying on the ground. It's probably roughly 3 meters wide and about 10 meters long. So it's pretty big. And on top of that, there are 4 or 5 smaller containers. So those are each about 3 meters by 3 meters cube.
Is there a red drawstring for the inflatable colony?
There's not. There's no red drawstring. There is a very easy series of controls on the side. This is going to be more like swipe right, swipe to get things rolling.
Tinder crates.
Will it connect to Wi-Fi well enough?
That's right.
I will, Tenla will go over to the long, flat container and kind of take a look at what it might have in it.
Okay, so you have this long flat container. It would be great if this was a huge tent, but it's not. It's actually a drop ship. So you have a basic aerial transport that you'll be able to use here for your exploration. And this is its compressed form. If you activate it, it will unpack and build itself. It'll take about 3 hours to fully realize, but it'll basically print itself into shape with the engines in place and everything like that. And it has a good guidance system, so it is almost totally operable by itself.
And is that something that, basically, would it like, would we just activate it when we need it, or should we activate it now and it's just kind of always around?
Oh, that is a group decision you guys will have to make. So, but it will take about 3 hours to fully realize. So it's up to you when you want that rolling. The
Okay.
containers on top of that. So I said there are, what, 4? So one of those is going to be basic foodstuffs. You have a crate that's basically rations. It's going to be all very thin packed wafer bars. It will probably last everybody in this colony, 50 days. So it's a lot of food. You have another box, which is basic tents. And so that's going to handle putting out structures immediately right now. And then the other 2 boxes are the equipment you need to basically print any like fundamental settlement things. So you have like a matter printer, and you have basically like a matter, what's the term I'm looking for? Like a grinder. So if you stick raw material in this, it should extrude things out into the other box, which will allow you to set up some basic buildings. Nothing is going to be fancy, but you'll be able to put up some like structures.
Are we familiar with these dropships, or is it something that might be foreign to us specifically?
I'm going to say you've all had enough of a look at this where you know how it operates, and you could get in it and like push some basic controls. If we get into something where there's like a pteranodon that's going to fly after you and bite you, that's probably going to require a test you're not totally prepared for. But the dropship should be fairly easy to operate by itself.
From that knowledge, do we know that all of us settlers can fit in this dropship with supplies, or is it something that like only for like small groups?
The 3 of
Okay.
you and maybe some supplies and or one other person about your size will fit in the ship.
Gotcha. Okay.
Especially with the weight. I imagine that Paragon is going to contribute to the weight of that ship quite a bit more. But future
So
stuff.
this
we're
is
good.
more like a Cessna than like a G7 or something like that.
Yeah, this is a very small dropship type ship. This is like the like a little. Yeah, Cessna is good. Let's go with Cessna.
Okay.
All right, so that's what you guys have right now. Silent Chorus, Frozen, Splendid Form, picking through garbage, looking very upset by their lack of luxury accommodations. You've got these 4 crates, you've got the drop ship, you've got yourselves.
Jackie wants to take a moment to gather together Kylabri and Hoshen and any other lieutenants that they might have from their groups and start establishing activities for the day, and discussing what our production is going to look like going forward. So Jackie will actually clap his hands together, and because of the way his arms are formed, it doesn't make any sound when he claps, so he has to snap his beak loudly in time so it sounds like he's clapping.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Then tries to gather everyone together to say, we have things to do, let's get on it.
Okay, so you have 2 things going on. Number 1 is the idea that you have the Splendid Form do not respond at all. Whatever's going on with them, they're all busy being frozen in time or space. And then on the other hand, you've got the, I'm sorry, that was the Silent Chorus.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Splendid Form, who are all capable of responding, but you will have to gain their attention. So I feel like this is an excellent chance to use an intellect skill of some kind.
Okay.
So do you have a leadership skill or anything like that?
I don't know if I've got any skills.
I'm noticing that on your character sheet. I wonder if you're supposed to have skills.
I don't know. But I can just make a standard intellect check.
You certainly can.
I am charming, so I think that should reduce whatever difficulty by 1 asset on that.
You know what? That sounds reasonable. And give me 2 seconds to see if I can grab anything that looks really useful here for us for skills. Okay,
Sure.
So charming. Does it have skills attached? Most descriptors have some sort of skill or intellect. Okay, so you are supposed to be, one of your skills is supposed to be positive social interaction.
Okay. I don't know where to put that, but
I'm putting it
right
into your
there for
skills right now. Yeah, I don't know if you get to see it while I'm adding it, but so that's
Hey,
there.
I just started adding to it to myself.
Cool. Well, I'll
We are
stop
both
trying to do
editing.
your stuff for you. I don't need to do that.
No, we're good. It's done, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did that one. And then let's see what we have under Jack real quick for first tier.
That actually reminds me. Would we be able to very quickly, just for my recollection as well as anyone else's, go over like our character types and focuses and descriptors?
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, Kyle, you've got to pick one other skill that you have as a skill. It can be any skill
Okay.
that's not combat, it says.
Okay. Do I have to pick it now, or can I pick it
Yeah, we can pick it as we go.
sometime in the next?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's no rush. Okay, so let's go over really quick everybody's character types. I think it's natural for Kyle to lead the way. So what is your character's sentence?
My character sentence is, Jackie is a charming Jack who controls gravity.
Which is awesome. Okay. Zan, would you like to go next?
Yeah, so Tenlao is an imaginative rite that augments flesh with grafts.
Awesome. Okay, and Kevin.
Paragon 9 is an exacting delve who fuses flesh and steel.
Very cool. So you got to say character sentences. They're the best.
And speaking of, I think Paragon 9, after like getting all those warnings and everything, like he sort of like lifts up his scavenged Stussy hoodie and like looks at his oddity, which is a shirt that shows all the internal. So it shows like beyond like sort of the metal plates, it shows all his organs. He's just making sure everything's still there, not making sure everything was like rematter formed correctly, given the warning.
That's a good question. So yes, all of your organs are where you expect them to be.
Yep, and like so like that sort of shows like the audience of the camera like he's not all inorganic. There's still organic parts within.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely some organs in there.
I really want to change controls gravity to longs to fly.
Yeah, that sounds awesome too.
Well, I mean, it still could be controls gravity. It's just, it feels like it's a better focus, more specific to the character.
Is it an actual focus, or do you like the name?
Just the name. I'll still keep controls gravity because I think that'll be great as an applicable thing. But I think when I describe the character and I do the focus, longs to fly is probably, I think it's more poetic.
That sounds so cool. I mean, you got to do that. Okay. And you're making a test right now, which is a positive social interaction test against the Splendid Form. Your difficulty is 3. So it means you need a 9 or more. If you want to use the action, you can just set the difficulty as 3. And rather than having an asset on this, you're trained in the skill. So you would just mark the skill as a T.
Mark the skill as a T. Okay, yeah. Do that, and the difficulty is 3.
That's right.
I would like to expend effort.
Excellent. So you do that. And do you have an intellect edge?
I do not. I only have a speed edge.
Okay.
So
in
that
case, you're
reduces
spending
my
3.
pool of intellect by 3.
Correct. And I think that if you use the action thing, after you make the roll, there's like a red button, and I think if you click that, it will do it for you.
Oh, okay. And then what? So that reduces the difficulty to 2. So that's now a 6 on the die roll.
Okay, so when you see the effort here in the action bar, you see how right now it says 1 and 1? You want to say 1 and 0, because you're not going to spend any effort to increase damage. Perfect.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay. And then that's it. So now I have two assets to this. Is that what it says?
Well, you've got your skill. And the only reason this is a different classification is because in the book, they tell you you're only allowed 2 assets on a roll. But you could be taking your skill, which you can get up to 2 levels of. And then additionally, you can spend whatever level of effort is appropriate to your tier. So you've got 2 things that are lowering it down. So yes, you only need a 3 to make this work.
Okay. Let's do this. Push the red die, right?
Correct. I believe that's...
Because that'll lower my pool?
Well, so when you do the thing... Sorry, I flipped away from it. So now I go back.
Oh, that's okay.
You've got the thing. We've got the character sheet. So yes, you're going to push this little red die that's down in the action bar where it says reset action parameters, I believe. Yes.
That just resets everything, doesn't it?
Does it? Oh, I hope not. Okay, maybe
I think
you
I'm
have to
supposed
hit... Maybe you have to push the green intellect roll. No, the red intellect roll. Okay, you got the thing no matter what. You figured it out. It says you got a success. Did we do it all right? It looks like maybe not, but let's try this one more time. So looking at it, keep the difficulty at 3. And then go ahead and reduce the assets down to 0. We've got the effort there. Try the roll one more time, and what you should do is by the intellect, push the red button.
I did.
Okay.
Try the green one, maybe.
Okay. Either way, it worked out well.
Yeah,
now let's try to apply
green.
cost and see if that lowers your pool.
Oh, see, that cost was at 0, right? Should be there. I'll just push it this time. Still didn't lower the pool.
Huh. Weird.
That's okay. I'll just manually lower the pool.
We'll figure this thing out as we go. It may look different on my screen than your screen and so forth, but you are successful. You've talked to the people of the settlement. The silent chorus have not moved at all. Physically, there is no movement whatsoever. However, the splendid form, who are all kind of huddling and looking around in shock, they all come towards you. Hoshen has not moved yet. They are still throwing pieces of technology aside and pulling things out of this rubble. So they're all now standing here kind of shivering and looking at you expectantly.
I start giving them directions to unload the stuff off the drop ship and start putting it into a place. And I talk to Paragon 9 and Tenlau about where we should probably be starting to, functionally build the first structure. Because I think that building something to be protected is our first and foremost, and to, protect us from the elements too.
Yeah, that would have been Paragon thinking like, where is the portal on the other colony? You said there were these arching spikes up. Is there a similar sort of structure here on this side?
No, you guys don't have a portal. So amongst other things, that is one of the fun things you guys get to deal with. So I'm going to draw on Roll20 real quick, kind of like a rough outline, which is apparently purple. So you guys are just going to have to deal with my purple. But over here where I'm doing these like real weird waves, that's going to be where we're seeing the chasm. You can see there's kind of like a rough curve of where the chasm is. This is your landing point, which is an X. And we've got, that's our dropship area. I'm going to do a big S for the silent chorus where they are all standing frozen. And then back here we've got some of these spheres and the dangerous peaks. So this is a very freehand, distance scale, not associated with anything, picture of what you guys are dealing with.
Would I be able to, as Jackie is kind of saying, all right, let's figure out where we're going to start these structures, would I be able to, in some way, figure out, know where the best location within our drop point would be to start something either the most stable or the most defensible or something like that.
Sure. I feel like at the point we're at, we're really going to be kind of describing how the settlement gets built. So I don't know that this is going to require rolls, but it's going to be more positional. Like, what do you prefer? So with where you're at, you can see that you're near the edge of the chasm, but there is a lot of ground behind. Most of it's going to need to be cleared of rubble and debris before you can build large structures there. But these tents, the way that they're built to set up, they're probably only going to be maybe 2 meters as a circle. So they're going to be very small. They're going to be those little like backpacker tents.
And how far away are these jagged mountainous forms?
The mountains, the like shale protrusions or whatever in the distance, those are quite far away. But these spheres have been rolled and broken and so forth. They're close.
Okay.
Might I suggest that once the dropship is fully functional, that we use that to scout around the area to find an ideal settlement?
Yes. Let's
Or
unload
do
it,
we feel
and
that
then we will fly
or
around.
this is
Flying is important.
yes.
This does sound amenable to me.
Okay, cool. So the dropship is going to take about 3 hours to print up. So you've got those 4 crates. They're small and they're light. They're very compact inside, and they've got some sort of negative space, so they're a lot lighter than they should be. But the actual dropship, easy to put up, and then yeah, you basically just slide along the bar like that, and it starts unpacking and unfolding, and things start printing into place, and it's just slowly accumulating itself. So Zan, you've got some configuration options. I'm assuming you're the one pushing the buttons right now. So
Yes.
right now, as you print it up, do you want to print it up open top, so it's like cruising and convertible, or do you want to print it with a canopy?
Oh. I would say a canopy. I feel like we don't know what the elements are going to be here, and protection would from those elements might be a good thing.
Okay. And then, yeah, I think overall you have the option to, do you want to go along the sides? Like, do you want to try to make this thing maybe a little bit more structurally reinforced? It's going to be heavier. You know, you're going to compress more of the material down. Or do you want to try to just, like, do you want to go for the fast print option?
For this, I kind of look over my shoulder at Paragon 9 and Jackie and say, are we looking for sturdiness or are we looking for speed?
What
Asking
time of
for-
day is it? Or like in the daylight cycle?
It's pretty early in the morning.
Early in the morning? Speed building, would that still be 3 hours or would it be shorter than the 3 hours?
Yeah, 3 hours is probably the speed option. And again, maybe with this, it's not going to be so much just whether or not it builds faster, but also maybe it will help with the maneuverability of the craft a little bit.
So whether or not it's going
Can
to
we
be like,
reconfigure it later?
Yeah, this is going to be something you can rebuild.
Okay. For now, I believe speed would be key to. We only have so much time in the day, and I would feel that getting a view from high above would give us some sense of the natural life and whether or not it is safe to camp here immediately or find some shelter, some natural shelter for the time being.
speed it is then. And I'll
Okay.
Yes.
pick that configuration.
Okay, so we're printing for maneuverability and we're printing with a canopy. So
Yes.
things are starting to set up, and you can see like the outline starts sketching out, and there's like hard light projections that show where the structure will be built as it finishes up. So you have an idea of the shape of the craft as it goes. The splendid form, they are all very bad at the task you gave them to move the things for the dropship. So let's see, you've got options here. You can apply more to leadership and take more of a direct hand, or somebody else can take over the task, but they basically just took all 4 of the boxes and put them about 5 inches away from where this is building up. It's certainly going to interfere with the build in just a moment.
I take much more of a direct hand in the whole process.
Okay, so you get to have the fun of dealing with this and showing them how you put boxes away and how you unpack them and so forth. I mean, again, you know that they can put things into boxes because we saw that in Zan's scene, but now they seem to be having a lot of trouble dealing with the atmosphere and the conditions being so harsh.
It's 15 degrees Celsius. It's not that bad. Jackie keeps reprimanding them.
So, thinking back to the mother colony, this beautiful dome that surrounds it, that keeps out outside intrusions, also keeps it a balmy, constant temperature at all times. The seasons basically do not happen in your colony. And so these people have been living in the lap of luxury, enjoying the best of everything. And now they have weather.
Yeah, it's like you want the best of everything, you have to work for it. You were chosen specially to make something beautiful. Let's do that.
You're getting more and more of a picture of the splendid form as this goes on, and you realize these are the people who are influencers and they're brokers. They have almost no skill in any of these areas that you're dealing with. So good time.
That's fair. But as soon as we get our buildings built, we can go find another settlement for you to go and influence and talk to and create art with. If
Get
we
ready
don't
for that.
if we don't have the stage, we cannot strut upon it.
Oh, I like that. Man, someone remember that one. That's very nice.
So Ho Shen is like Steve Wozniak, and then he's just got a whole posse of Steve Jobs behind him, pretty much.
Good.
That's extremely accurate. Yes, you brought Elon Musk and all of Elon Musk's friends on this trip, but then you
His
also
entire
brought
board
one
of
guy.
directors.
That's right.
Good.
But then you brought one guy who actually builds stuff. And speaking of which,
Yeah.
Ho Shen right now seems to be building something. Is anybody going to bother him, or are you just going to let him do his thing?
I
Yeah,
I will
do
just-
it.
I'm just gonna go over. Once I get the drop ship going, it's just gonna do its thing for a while. It's all set up. I'll wander over there and just kind of like stand maybe 3 feet away, hands clasped in front of me, just kind of watching. I just want to take note of everything he's doing and what it is he's making.
You get
Eventually
about
create the IKEA plan.
Yeah, when you get close to him, there's this sudden, like, you hear like a blip, and there's like a little red dot that's in front of where your foot is. It's nothing that's threatening, but this is like a general proximity like system. So Ho Shen, after a few more moments of tinkering, you see the articulated arms pushing and poking, turns and looks at you, and the eyes refocus. Yes, Ten Lao.
Simply curious to know if what you are working on would help speed up the process of what we are trying to accomplish immediately, or if I should leave you to your work.
No, I don't think that what I'm doing will be immediately helpful to you, but I am concerned about long-range communications, and I'm modifying a communications array from the mother colony so that we'll be able to keep in touch better here. If this works right, we should be able to speak to each other at any distance.
I think that is wonderful.
Fine, then I'll continue.
End conversation.
Yes.
The salt. Ooh, it's so salty here. Oh.
It's my one chance to be myself, so
Yeah.
I gotta enjoy that while I can. Okay.
So at that point, Tenlel, I'll just I'll watch for like another 30 seconds, and then walk away.
Perfect. So
Um,
in that exchange, you do get the sensation he is definitely putting together some sort of very small portable communication system. It's definitely going to be helpful.
Awesome.
Okay. So time passes. The matter printer keeps going. Do you guys have any pressing needs for this next part of the scene?
Well,
Yeah,
what's going on with Ho Shen?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What's going on with the chorus?
Okay. So Ho Shen finishes these little pieces of technology at about the same time that the printer finishes for the ship. In the meantime, the silent chorus, where they have not moved at all, just before that piece finishes, suddenly you see them all take a step in unison. And their clothing is moving again, everything is back to normal, and Kylabri turns and looks back at you all, and then walks towards Paragon 9. Paragon 9, what has happened?
Do I know if Kylabri has like some sort of formal title? As
Nope,
head of the silent chorus?
they tend to be called Kylabri.
And they're gender neutral. They go by they, them, I think I caught.
Yes. Again, for anybody who might be
Okay.
watching this, for the year 1 billion, we're assuming that neutral pronouns are normal.
Master Kylabri, I did not want to disturb your meditation, but we seem to have found ourselves in quite the predicament. Some of us, it seems, and like he gives like sort of a side eye over to the to the splendid form, did not expect the conditions of arrival to be as such, and we are working to determine the best way in which to establish ourselves for the time being, until we are able to find better accommodations.
Well, very well. The silent chorus are apt workers, and he just kind of waves an arm out in the distance. They kind of wave an arm out in the distance, and all of the silent chorus fan out. It's like one step out more at a time, so they form this diagonal line, and they all immediately begin going to the crates and taking things out, and they're handling stuff. Kylabri is looking at you. You said my meditation. Was your pause not intentional? Taking in the surroundings, pondering the current situation. I don't know what you're referring to.
And are Jackie and Ten Lao sort of around to hear this conversation?
Sure,
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, like Paragon like sort of looks at both of them like it wasn't just me seeing them sort of just standing there, right? That's no.
No, we saw it as well. You were unmoving for, it was about 3 hours. That was the.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 hours. Yeah.
You were unmoving for near 3 hours, the time it took the dropship to assemble. How long of a time passed for you?
I don't think any time passed at all.
So you simply passed through the portal and you saw us and the splendid form working, and the dropship has already assembled.
Yes, that's right.
This is very disconcerting, Master Calabri. For us, it has been 3 hours, and we have been working, and we How much reporting did we get on this area before we set out on this journey? Do we know?
I believe that you have some basic information about the area. Let me see what I have pinned.
Because I remember the quirks that were in the surveys that we decided on, but I'm not sure, is that public knowledge or is that something that we're supposed to discover through roleplay?
Yeah, so you guys know that you have... we're going to find out about the neighboring settlement as things go on, but I mean, again, you guys aren't going to be that surprised. I don't think I have Survey 2 easily here. So I think you're going to have some information about the area, and I'm going to say maybe that's directly Zan's information.
Okay.
Would the time pauses be part of that?
Zan, you have some time lapses that were recorded when things happened. So the people who took this survey, they did notice that there were they had pauses where there's no recording done. And that's definitely in the record, but maybe not extrapolated until now.
In the information that was given to us by the initial surveys done here, there were strange lapses in the recording process, but we simply assumed it was an effect of their equipment or simply a pause in their own goings on. It is possible that there have been lapses in time here, though. Why they are affecting only part of our company is a different matter entirely.
Paragon,
This could be very dangerous for us.
Paragon 9, it did not affect you?
No, only you and your band were affected. You seem to be standing very still in almost meditative state, and that was our false assumption. I see.
Very well.
This is something that we should bring up to Master Shen and his compatriots as well. This could be very dangerous should we find ourselves in a threatening situation and one of these lapses occurs to some of our party and not others.
I think you should do that.
Ted Lao, you seem to have some sort of relationship with Master Shen. Would you prefer to do the honors?
Tenlau gives kind of just like a grunt of a chuckle. Just like relationship is a kind term for that. But yes, I will inform him of the matter.
Good times. Okay. So you now have some basic survey results, and I kind of know what we're expecting for that. So good. Okay. You're
Over
gonna
that
go-
3 hours of build, could I have started to use my familiarize special ability?
Mhm.
It takes
Sure.
an hour, and I become very familiar with a region up to a long range.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have helped. Like since that's building, like that's really that's Paragon's more specialty. He's like sort of looking around, seeing if there's any like threatening nature to life, any sort of foodstuffs or any other sources of resources around that we can use for survival.
Yeah. So you've got fresh water. Everything that's in the area that is, let's say, easily accessible seems to be metallic, synthetic. You don't find any arable land immediately, and you don't find any sign of foodstuffs.
Any sort of anomalia around?
Not really.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So you were in a pretty much a dead zone for organics, but there is fresh water, and the water does seem potable.
That's weird.
Yeah. That's creepy and dangerous, and I don't like it.
Welcome to Numenera. Thank you.
Yep.
So, yes. We've got Zan going over to Hoshen, who is now, as you walk up, holds out what looks to you like a small tick or spider. It's got a large central metal flat disc and then prongs that stick up out of it. This should be fine. You should just embed this directly below your mandible, and this should allow you to communicate with everyone.
And he's holding it out to me specifically?
Correct.
Oh, okay. I will take it from his hand and kind of like on the right side, like just underneath where kind of like that would be, just let it, I'm assuming kind of like attaches and does its own thing with it.
Pretty much. And it's not
Okay.
it's not painful or invasive or anything like that. So it just kind of like sticks on you. And you can feel it just pinching
Sure.
at your skin a little bit.
Okay. This will be very useful. Thank you.
Yes. Now we don't have to be so close to talk. But
Oh my god, I
very good.
love him. I love Hoshan so much.
yes, thank you.
Well, I will initiate it in a moment, but I thought to let you know that the inactivity that we saw with the silent chorus seems to have been some sort of singular lapse in time, rather than any sort of thing that they were doing of their own free will. The
All right.
survey that we got of the space before might suggest that this could be a continuing phenomenon.
He does like a gesture like this and pulls up his own version of notes, their own version of notes, starts going through things, reading. That makes as much sense as anything else. Yes. Well, I guess we exercise caution. We try to be careful. Yes.
Very well. I will continue to sing to the building of what we can unpack.
Yes. All right. And in their hand, they have, again, several of these like tick-like things. You should give these to Jackie and Paragon and Kai Labry.
I'll take the 3 of those and go back to the rest of the group and the same explanation of where it goes and handing it out to the leaders and players.
This looks disgusting.
I promise you it is not. It is simply an augmentation of your body that will allow us to more easily communicate with each other.
Can you make something similar that's prettier?
I did not make it. I'm sure I could given some time. However, I don't know that I brought the materials in order to do so. So this will have to do for the time being. Feel free to cover it up with some sort of paint or pigment.
Yes.
It would seem to me this is the most efficient design. That this is the perfect melding of time and execution. I find some beauty of its own in it.
Could it not be pretty crystal or something? It's not even shiny.
Before Jackie puts it into his neck, I'll take it and like just a little cloth and like buff it,
Yeah.
so it shines a little bit more and hand it back to him.
There you go.
That's more to your liking then.
Used some sort of abrasive acetone and brought out a finish, and it's burnished chrome. Oh, yes. Thank you. You are a good friend. Eh.
Yeah, and it's just a little pinch. It's not that bad.
It's a little pinch.
Just a little.
Paragon like opens up like a plate on his neck and just like puts it in there and like fastens it to like some wires and stuff, and like puts it and like puts the plate back.
Yeah,
I
it's
can
good.
see your insides.
And of course, Kylibra just takes it and gently press it against their neck and is done with that. My people will see to the rest of this.
What is the range on these communications?
As far as you know, there is no limit.
I'm hearing everyone's voices doubled.
Ah. Oh no.
Take a second to focus on one over the other.
This is weird.
Yeah, and maybe after a moment it'll mute itself and kind of like balance out. But there's a moment of adjustment. While that's going on, Kylibri says, "My people will finish the rest of this building."
Good.
That's basically it. You can see that in the distance, several of these silent chorus members are already like pushing these large spheres out of the way. Each of these is a little bit taller than a person, so they're like pushing them to make a row, and then they've started to set up the bases of these tents where they'll all be able to kind of deploy and shoot up into little domes. So everything is getting set up over there.
Did any of these influencers from the Splendid Form bring any bodyguards or any sort of personnel that are like more equipped to defend themselves?
Again, to reference our Fire Fest,
Oh,
no, they did not bring any personnel
Okay.
to help them with their things. They are here to partake of this new experience.
They put the party in partake.
Right. Also, it may have been implied at some point through some of this process that Jackie is basically bodyguarding everyone. I mean, it's not really clear how you all got this gig in the first place.
I mean, clearly no one will survive without me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were all just sent here to die.
I feel remiss that the Broken Arrow was not joining us in this.
No,
new light.
don't feel too remiss. They are assholes.
But they are assholes that could help us live, and in case there are unfriendly threats to our being, our
But-
insides and outsides.
They are not capable in a relationship of any length and form, and not forthcoming of their emotions or making plans for the future of togetherness or creating a nest worthy of calling home. Jackie swallows audibly.
Have incredibly strong opinions on this.
Whatever, Barathon's not here. Just walks off.
I love you all so much.
And now
This
I
is
believe
excellent.
there's more there than that was spoken. I am not particularly sure, but I have a how do you say, a hunch.
does Paragon develop a hunch?
Maybe next session. Maybe
Yeah.
when I augment steel, flesh and steel.
That's right. Good stuff.
Feel hunch.
Jackie just goes over to the dropship since it's probably finished, and let's go do an aerial of the of the area. Just sits there waiting for someone to pilot it.
Okay, yeah. And they're basically like little cushion seats like this. So you're basically just sitting back in this little half egg. And So that's there. There's a front console where you've got one set of controls, and then there's 2 chairs behind that and 1 chair at the very back.
Do we feel safe leaving our fellow settlers to their own devices?
Well, I don't think we're just going to get up into the air and do a survey of the area. Yeah. And if we do see a threat, we can like drop onto it.
Yeah.
Kind of looking around, Tenla goes, "Oh, Shen will be fine. If his skills don't save him, his arrogance will."
Yes, that is well said.
An ego defense is a new strategy to me, but I will be interested in seeing how it is employed. Also, are we concerned with these time lapses and us being mid-flight?
Well, if I understand what we saw correctly, it seems that they just stopped. It didn't seem that they fell over or had any sort of problems with their position or physical capabilities. So I assume if we have a lapse of our own, then we should just pause mid-air. To everyone else, anyway.
Or so we could hope. Yes. Let us rise in the air and
Finally.
on faith and
and pixie dust, and throw some pixie dust from Jackie pulls pixie dust out of his backpack because that seems like a useless thing to have.
I'm good with that. So the real question is, who's taking the pilot's chair?
I will go up to it and kind of give everything a quick glance. I understand like what is there, but I have an inability with like understanding Numenera, and I assume that this is Numenera based, and so I'm going to kind of like give this a once over and say, well, I understand how this is made. I'm not sure I understand how to work it. Paragon, would you like to take over here?
Paragon also has an inability with understanding Numenera. He's looking around and he's like, well, if we can take that armor plate off, we can use it as a shield, and like we could rip the guts out and like repurpose them for this.
Oh, wait a minute. Is there any sort of port within the console readout? Can I plug Perry directly into this?
So that's a good question. Yes, you can do that because that sounds awesome. And additionally, this is not going to count as Numenera in terms of your skills. This is going to be a separate thing because you don't have to understand this, and this isn't about figuring out how it works. This is a known piece of technology from your settlement.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So
still want to plug him into it though, because that's like that's
please.
totally within my purview of fiddling with things.
Oh yeah.
I hope that when he blinks, the headlamps also blink.
All of a sudden, this dropship looks like one of those cars from the Chevron commercials.
Yes.
Man, I want that to be the thing. Yeah, that's probably going to happen in some level. So just as a side note here, for our planned time, we're going to stop with like this session at 11. And then we'll have some time if we want to go over like where we're at with experience, how things are, following up. So we don't have to have like a hard stop, but I know Kyle's got a roll. So we want to facilitate both those things. So with that, let's go on to this dropship. So yes, there's a port. There's actually multiple ports the way that this thing is set up. So I'm assuming that Paragon has some sort of standard interface device that they're able to use. And
Yeah, it's like the scene in the Matrix where you just take that giant hypodermic needle and just jam it in the neck.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Now, additionally, I imagine that Tenlau was aware of the fact that there were probably several options that did not involve stabbing themselves in the neck, but Paragon has decided it's just going to go for the hardest possible version of this. So sure.
It does your
The
body.
more intense, yes, the more intense the injection, the more direct the connection.
I'm going to remember that you said that for later when something happens to this ship, that you went like full on. So sure.
The more intense the injection, the more
direct the connection.
Oh,
Yeah, phrasing.
Can we write that down? That needs to be kept for all times.
Yeah, really. You guys are coming up with some interesting, iconic phrases today. So with that, Paragon, you feel like if someone was picking you up in the air, that weightless sensation as this drop ship lifts off. From your place in the pilot's chair, it seems to you really like it's your body moving up. Everything feels connected to you, and you can barely tell that you're actually sitting in a chair in this. Your airship lifts up. This crater is enormous. It is approximately 4 miles across. So you can see the far edge. Everything is about level on the surrounding lip, and the center of the crater is filled with a mist that looks like it's swirling kind of grayish with some green lights that occasionally flare. Just like little tiny like will-o-wisp type lights that go on and off. You can see again pieces of broken rock sticking out from the center of this crater. And as you lift up, right now you're at a point where you can see in the distance, if you were a clock and your settlement is at 6, then somewhere around the 9 o'clock range, so off to your left, there is a series of kind of domes that is off of the edge of this crater. They look really big.
Obviously artificial domes, right?
The more you look at them, the more certain you are they're artificial because they're very round and symmetrical, and they also overlap. So you've got one here, and then there's another one that's kind of above it, and then there's another one that kind of protrudes beyond that. So they have a layered look, which to you definitely speaks to organization and settlement.
Kind of like a giant grouping of mushrooms.
Yeah,
Mushroom
very
caps?
much so like that.
Can we tell about how far it is from our settlement?
It's going to be a little more than a long distance, so this is beyond what you've become comfortable and familiar with as a range. You're probably
Like a
going to take
3-hour
about
walk?
yeah, and in your dropship, probably about 2 minutes.
Okay.
So this thing is fast when it wants to be fast.
Jackie asks Tenlau while we're in the dropship, where are the canapes?
Where the what? I'm sorry.
The canapes. I thought that you were adding canapes to this dropship.
Sorry. Oh. A little bit of derail there. No, that is a canopy.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I totally know what that is. And Jackie nods his head like, yeah, no, Jackie doesn't know what that is.
And Ten just kind of like points up like the thing
Oh,
over
the
our
roof.
heads.
That makes good
Yes,
sense.
a roof.
I wondered how canapes were going to save us from the environment and rain, but I wasn't going to, put that on you to say that they couldn't. But I am disappointed that we do not have delicious snacks.
To be fair, pate does sound delicious right now.
So on your short
I
snackless voyage.
I am not a proficient baker.
So this dropship has kind of hovered in the direction of this like mushroom-looking settlement. As you're getting there, you see again, these are actually tall, rounded dome-type buildings, and they're large. Like all of these doorways look huge to all of you, and they're stacked up. They're not very like high, but they are stacked up, so there's a large cluster of them. When you get closer, you begin seeing forms that are roughly humanoid, very wide. And they have like an extruded bone surface to their face. It looks very hard and skull-like is the phrase I'm looking for, with short horns that come down to about where the human ear level would be. They're walking, and some of them you see are walking bipedally, but also using their knuckles. So I guess that's not bipedally. So anyways, you see some of them walking kind of like gorillas, while others walk upright. Some of them are carrying what look like staffs or maybe like long poles. And in general, they all have very large patches on their backs that look like they have had the hair removed, and they seem to have like kind of a bubbly looking fungal growth on their back. So there are many of these creatures, at least 20 that you've seen so far.
Tenlao, was this settlement and these local inhabitants, were they mentioned in your field reports?
I'm going to assume no.
No, this is outside of what you've seen so far.
No, there were no other settlements listed as a part of the survey originally. Apparently, they did not come this far to take a look.
Do we know if our dropship is easily visible to these humanoids right now?
Your dropship has a very like off-white color, and there are no other floating things that you've seen so far, so you are probably very visible.
Okay. Are any of them looking up at us or noticing us? Clearly noticing us anyway?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
And in your handouts in Roll20, I did drop an image of this critter. Hopefully it'll pop in a second. I know sometimes it takes a second. But long story short, yes, they're all moving around. You see there's a couple that are kind of gesturing up in the distance towards you. Everybody right now is at that, you're in a plane, they're an ant kind of height. But yeah, they do seem to be quite aware of your presence.
Is this something that any of us have seen before, or is this a new type of being?
Does anybody feel like they've got experience with other species at this point?
I don't think I have.
Is that a viable skill?
It
So
could be a
like a
viable skill,
skill?
yeah. It could definitely be something you could flex skill for today, being a jack, or it could just generally be a skill.
Let's flex skill it because I'm a jack.
Sure. I'm going to say if
Something
this is a skill you have, you probably don't even need a roll on it. This is something that they call a lattimore. And a lattimore is a symbiotic species. That fungus on its back is part of the creature. When they are separated, these things are basically large. They're much more animal in terms of intelligence. But together, they're fairly intelligent.
Are they generally a hostile people, Jackie?
They can be when provoked, but they are. We should have no problems in making introductions as long as we are civil, polite, and I don't know. Is there anything else that I could add, or can I just make it all up?
You can kind of make it all up. The thing that's interesting about these, on the one hand, their like physical form of the base creature is kind of like a Wookiee. I mean, we're going to imagine a lot of Wookiee comparisons for them in terms of how they act and how they process things. The fungal part of them basically cannot communicate with people in its fungal state. When they're together, they tend to be in kind of like a fugue state where they will process things, handle their general interactions well. They do much better as a society than as individuals in terms of being manageable and coherent and so forth. So they're like
That makes
people.
perfect sense. I'm just adding this to the Lattimore section as we go along.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we should land, and we should let them know that we live nearby, and introduce ourselves.
Do we not feel that it would be more appropriate to bring along Master Shen and Master Calabri in this introducing ourselves? They are pillars of our new community, and excluding them from such a matter may introduce a division within the already factionalism within our group.
Jackie says, throws out his really long arm and says, "I got this."
Ted Lau, your views on this situation? He's not like dismissing you. He's just he would like to get everybody's opinions.
Yeah, no.
I think while I agree that having the other voices in this situation would be beneficial, I worry that if we do not make ourselves known now, we might provoke some sort of hostile action.
This is very fair. I would prefer that we do not reveal where our settlement is in case there is some unintended provocation. If that is my only sort of further suggestion. But
Yes.
lightning does seem the best.
Your defensive mindset is very appreciated.
Then let us be vague, but hospitable.
Yes, those are good adjectives.
Vague and hospitable does seem a very safe way to live life.
Good
Bring
stuff.
us down.
Let's do this. Okay, so what we're going to do, for purposes of making this a simple interaction in terms of time, we're going to abstract this to a roll. It's going to be a positive social interaction with these Lattimore. The difficulty is 4, this being the first time that you've met them. And we're going to
Or
be...
do we want to just pick this up next week with the first interactions?
Well, that's a great question. I do have to throw one more thing at you at the end here, so...
Okay,
My
cool.
preference would be to make this a roll right now.
All right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I will spend what is this? Is this a mic check or is this also intellect?
This is going to be an intellect check, unless you have
Okay.
a reason that you'd want to do something physical to it.
No, I'm just wondering if I put the edge in the wrong spot because I put it in speed, but it seems like I'm going to be using a lot of intellect.
And if you want to make that change at the end of all this, I'm totally okay
Yeah,
with
that's
that.
fine. Let's do the 3 for intellect. I have my 2 stalwart companions here helping me be vague and hospitable, so I feel like that's a good asset to add to this conversation, right?
I'm going to say if we've got one person who's taking all the action for 3 people, I think I should give you an asset.
Okay. That it's also a positive social interaction. So once again, I am trained, and the difficulty is what?
The difficulty is 4.
5? It was 4 to begin with. Okay,
Correct.
so I've spent the cost, I have expended effort, and I have 1 asset. Is that correct? And I'm trained.
Everything is correct here, but I don't think you need the cost.
Oh, don't put the cost in.
Right. I mean, you know what? We could try it this way and see if it works right for the pools, but I don't think it's necessary in that action builder. Whichever way we
Okay.
go, we'll figure this out soon.
Okay, then it points to the green arrow, so that's where I should probably be rolling. And let's do this up.
It's looking good.
Yay! Whoa!
Nice.
I know. Yeah. You guys
What did
are
I get,
getting there
17?
Exactly right. Oh, you got a 5.
Oh, I just wanted to know what I got on the die.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. On the die, you got a 5. So,
Okay.
but the important thing is with everything working out, it worked out okay. So good stuff. So here's how this goes. You meet a Lattimore leader. Lattimores have very long names, so pardon me if you don't remember all this. It's going to be totally fine. Their name comes out to being Long Thought, Understanding Eternity. And the settlement is called Nesting Straw, Dwindling Breath, which, as you can take it, it means something vaguely that this has been an established settlement, but also that there are influencing factors here that seem to be making it difficult for the settlement to continue to thrive and reproduce. They don't go into detail with you, but they do tell you that basically things are fine, the settlement is not getting bigger, in short. And they seem hospitable. They seem friendly and interested in the contact.
Awesome. I tell them things are new and we are growing and long for a connection of a brilliant understanding.
Wonderful. It all goes really well, and you spend about an hour interacting with these beings and learning a little bit about them. They seem comfortable with you. They don't seem threatened. You never see any signs of weaponry or signs of like a force in any way, but they're all very large and physically imposing. So they're all like as wide as Tenlao, but about twice as tall. So in general, these are muscular, svelte beings. So
Cool.
at the end of that time, when the dropship lifts off and you begin heading back towards the settlement, I'm going to award you guys your final experience point through intrusion, as you all get this group intrusion. Everybody gets an experience point. The dropship has raised up, and where you did not see this happen before with the silent chorus, now there's like an arc of light that just kind of goes like this, and it passes through the dropship. Through your enhanced awareness being connected to a paragon, there's a moment where your proximity sensor starts to go off right when this light comes out, and you recall seeing the same alert the moment you stepped through this portal. This was one of the like 15 notifications you had going across your status bar. So it may not have been the most important one, but yes, suddenly it triggers and you all, nothing happens. Everything seems fine. When you look around just a moment later, the internal clock on the ship has navigated forward 7 hours. You're looking outside, it's totally dark. You can see the silhouette of a crescent moon in the distance and a few scattered stars. And as the dropship starts to bank towards your settlement, heading back, there are 3 large domed mushroom-type structures in one corner. You see 4 very square, well, let's say cylindrical buildings that are halved in another corner. And there's the rough outline of a wall and path formed by moving these spheres to the side. All of the tents are gone, and everything seems to be in a much more permanent state than you remembered the last you were awake and aware.
How many dead bodies of the chorus in splendid form do we see on the ground?
That is a great question, which we'll have to answer next time we play. Yay!
This is a great session. Thank you, Hans.
Fun.
Oh, man.
Thanks so
You
much.
guys are so much fun to play with. Love that.
No, this is
Yes.
great.
So, again, for anybody who happens to be watching or for people we talk to, I'm interested in rotating this cast for people who want to do that, but I'm not trying to get rid of you guys. It's a lot of fun playing with you all, and you are all very creative and, bringing a lot to the game. I don't know what we're going to do with Paragon 9 being part of the Silent Chorus now and that failed roll. I mean, we still have no idea what that means. We've got Ten Lao, who Hoshin cannot stand, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted out of that. And then we've got Jackie, who has basically taken over everything, and that's where I was expecting that to go.
Yeah.
So I know Kyle's got to head out. Thank you very much for joining us and being part of the game. In the rest of things, if we want to talk at all about stuff we want to have happen, or if you guys have any other questions or thoughts, we can always throw that in at this point. But Kyle, if you want to bounce out, I'll try to rearrange my cameras here in a second.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks
Cool.
for having me, and I
Yeah.
look forward to the next game.
Always good having you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
playing, man. It was fun.
Great.
Yes. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Okay, here we go. We're going to have one of those Zoom shifts, so everybody prefer for it to get weird, and then I'm going to shift things around. Let's see, which one am I got? No, that's not it. How are you guys doing?
Better now after that section. That was a good way to start my day.
Cool.
Yeah, seriously, that was an absolute blast.
Well, you guys are a blast to play with, and I think that's really the formula right there. Okay, so we've got knit is there. This tag's going to go over here. This tag's going to go into the nothing space. Give me just a second here. Okay. Let me just drop this camera. Cool. What have I got here? Okay, and what have I got here? I am so close to done, you guys.
No worries.
So
I'm going to take a quick bio break, actually, if you don't mind.
No worries.
Be right back.
Yeah. So I didn't throw a break in because I was about to announce break when Kyle said he was going to go. So apologies for not doing that because personally I like to get people breaks in. Okay, I'm going to do my transition and things will stop looking weird. Sorry about that, people who might watch this. I am not good at doing Twitch, and it always takes me about 18 hours to do anything. Okay. So Zan, how you doing?
doing good.
Good.
Doing good. No, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
you go ahead.
No, I sincerely love everything about the world that you are building here, and obviously we're going to continue building together. I like how collaborative this is. It feels like we actually have a say in how this community is going to be progressing and be built, and that's a hard balance to strike, trying to make sure that everyone has a say in everything. And I know that the system helps a little bit in that, but that, like, story-wise, that you're doing an amazing job. This is so cool.
Hey, thanks. You guys are all working well together, so I don't have to do much. This would be really hard with a different group potentially, but you guys are working together, which is the hardest part of something like this in the first place. And everybody is saying yes to everything, which I don't know what to do with. That's just too much fun.
I'm sure we'll eventually say no, but I think right now, especially that we're still fleshing out our own character personalities and motives and ideas, saying yes right now makes things interesting.
Yeah, totally. I love it, and it's one of those things too where you get the right group and everything becomes really fun to do. If it's not a totally right match, sometimes that doesn't work out, but this is just smooth sailing. There's nothing to complain about. So, at this point, I'm totally good with an early wrap. If you guys have any questions or things that you want to throw in or things you want me to be thinking about for next time, we've got this time too.
I think, like the one thing I kind of generally looked over the rules for crafting, which are extensive.
Yeah, true.
But I'm gonna spend a little bit more time kind of figuring out what that's gonna look like in the future. So I know one of the things that Ten Lao is gonna want to do when we get back is to start trying to salvage stuff, and especially into that crater, because my guess is that there's something interesting down there. Because looking for like plans and Numenera bits and stuff like that, while not something that they're necessarily good at, they want to make that happen.
Totally makes sense. Yeah, for those who weren't part of the collaborative process of getting this all together, our goal was to come up with a place that would be a site of Numenera, and then to build a new colony around it. Because that's kind of a formula you see in the Numenera game. There's got to be a reason to explore, and exploration is the drive to this game. So there's no combat basis, there's no other reason to have to go get stuff, and we're adding a lot of personality to these characters in terms of who their motivations and their connections are, but the primary goal of Numenera as a game is exploration and discovery. So we've got that right here with whatever this crater is.
Yep.
Kevin, you want to
go? Yeah, planning on I would love to help out Ten Lao in doing some of that salvaging and getting in there, getting my hands dirty and breaking some stuff.
Cool. Yeah, on my part, in terms of my scenes I had organized, I wanted to make sure we got all the preliminary group scenes out so we could figure out who has beef with who. And I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to establish all of these good elements so that we know there's tech just everywhere, lying around in huge piles. You know about your neighboring settlement, and you know about this huge running waterfall that you have immediately adjacent. So all those things get established right away for the good stuff, and then for the bad stuff, that's fun to throw in as we go. So who knows what has been found out. We know that there's dangerous terrain. You saw that pretty clearly, that everything around you is bad. And then in terms of dangerous creatures, you haven't seen that yet, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen while you guys were time stuck. So
7 hours. Oof.
That's a big chunk of time.
And I mean, there's buildings now. It's probably not 7 hours. It's probably
and
7 hours and several days.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because you said there were domes or whatever. So do those look like the Lattimore domes?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I don't like that.
I mean,
they were nice, but still, them knowing where we are is kind of a threat.
I mean,
in case things go bad.
Kyle basically invited him in.
Yeah, I know.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure that the neighboring settlement was listed in our good features when we were choosing this. So hopefully that'll be good.
Yeah, I mean,
it starts good, but who knows?
Right. I mean, that's the best part about any game, right? Is it's just like real life, where you've got to figure out how everybody's going to come together and whether or not they're going to like it. So good times.
Yeah.
But we're totally going behind that waterfall to see the extensive cave system that's inevitably be there, right behind the waterfall.
That's a really good
every
question.
Good game. Yeah.
I mean, that waterfall just goes down into that chasm. So I mean, yeah, there's going to be so much stuff down there you guys have no idea about. Should be really cool. The other thing that we've got to figure out at some point here too is, okay, so we know there's some sensitive information. Okay, so here's what we broke down in Survey 2 in terms of what you guys have. We have historical records of the area from an age long past. I feel like that's what Zan's been looking at.
Sure.
Yeah.
In equal measure, we had votes for sensitive information on one of the faction leaders and lived this timeline once before and know some of what happened. I feel like I could assign one of these to each of you, or maybe we let some of the other people who come into the game later have one of these features or something like that.
Yeah.
Totally. I think, I mean, if we end up being a regular cast of characters here, but I think getting some of those things to other people would be awesome.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun to throw in. I like that. I hadn't thought of that until just now, but I think that's something we should do.
Yeah, I can imagine another character coming in, in sort of rotation, and then just first thing they do is point at one of the other faction leaders. Is I know your secret.
Or popping through and having
I know your deep.
Having that total deja vu moment of, I've been here before.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. We're gonna have fun with that. I gotta
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
also the other thing that we didn't throw in yet as technology is the suits that prevent contamination from radiation or illness. I'm not really thinking about that as being a huge factor, but I think all the other stuff is probably going to be created by the time you guys get back to the settlement. I think that's what Hoshen's going to be working on while you're gone.
Nice.
Maybe the mist in the crater is like somehow like damaging to us, and like that's where we need the suits.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun figuring out what stuff is bad for you in this game.
Well, it does say. Oh no, never mind. The strange lapses in time. Never mind. I was looking
Yeah.
at the list of the Survey 1 features.
Right. I need to get the Survey 2 stuff into Discord so they're more available to you all so you can see the results. But yeah, I'll do that. So, yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to go over?
I was thinking about character advancement, but I think I need to look over that first on my own, and then like sort of come back to you with questions.
I
in
didn't
Discord.
do that. So we need to
Yeah.
do some character advancement, and I'll get this to Kyle as we continue on. So for the session, you're all going to take 4 more experience points. So I think you guys may have as many as
Ooh.
6 at this point, but that's really good. A character advancement is one of those things you got to get into in the game, and they're very significant. So this is one of my favorite things about the Cypher system is you're basically getting part of your next tier now. So you're going to get to spend 6 points in a pool. You can increase your edge by 1 in any one category. You can get +1 to your effort so that you can spend 2 levels of effort, or you can gain a new skill. So you've got lots of options here, and you have to take all 4 options before you go to tier 2. So it's really a question of just order and sequence.
Oh, okay.
That's so cool. I don't think I realized that it wasn't because I'm used to playing systems where it's like, okay, you go up a level and you get all of these things, but it feels a little more like video game-esque where you have to go up the tree to get to the next level. So it's like,
Yep.
okay, you can choose any of these 4, and once you have those 4, you're at tier 2.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you not
Yep,
only
and
get
all those other
bonuses,
things unlock.
Yeah, you get all these cool bonuses, but then additionally, you know you're going to get tier 2 abilities, which are super cool. So I like the way it rewards you for rewarding yourself.
That's cool. I need to
So
take a look.
something you guys can think about is how you want to do that, because there's not really a right answer. I mean, it kind of depends on what you think your character would benefit from and when. So ideally, I think we're going to get an advancement every story.
Nice. Cool. I'll have to think on that for a little bit. but
Yeah, there's no problem with
that's
that.
Very cool.
All right. Let me jump away for bio real quick, and I'll be right back. Kevin, you got to say hi to Kale in chat.
Cool. Yep. Oh, Kale's watching? Oh, shit. Now I'm getting stage fright. See, like, you guys were worried about messing up Paragon's pronoun, but, like, I messed it up more than anybody else, I feel like. I kept calling it he and, like, they, and I'm like, no, it's it. It wants to go by it. I need to remember that.
Yeah, and I think part of, like, thankfully for me, it's easy to remember pronouns because my personal pronouns are the same as the character, so that's easy enough. But yeah, I don't know that I did them correctly for Perry either.
If anybody like messed up, I didn't notice except when I did it, so I didn't mind equally. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then like the whole exacting thing, like I'm like I have negative social interactions because I'm kind of a jerk. I think I need to lean into that more. I think I was a little bit too nice for this one, or a little bit too accommodating. I need to kind of get real strict.
I feel that you were maybe not exacting at this point, but I feel like you were definitely maybe distanced. Was a good word for it. You had more of a like function over form mentality. It seemed, which I think works really well.
I'm sure once Paragon sees Ten Lao's messy workshop, he'll the exacting nature will come in. It's like, no, we need to like start like getting all these organized by color and size and by shape.
Yeah, there's some good time.
I think
for
there'll
that.
be a moment of no, I know exactly where everything is. Don't touch it. It's organized.
You don't know. How could you know in this mess? And like it takes you so much time to remember if you forget. It's so much more efficient to have organized and
Yeah, Yes. Oh, that's gonna be good.
And there's a good symbiosis to the characters too, not just like that fun infighting thing, but they've got the abilities that really go well together. So
Yeah.
a lot of good fun
I'd
stuff.
be interested to see what a campaign that has a right without a delve or a jack would look like. Because both of those types have a tendency to be good at finding stuff and understanding it and that kind of stuff, but glaives, nanos, and what is the plural of Arcus?
Maybe Archive? I don't know.
Archive?
Yeah,
Sure.
Archive
we'll go
sounds
with
good.
Archive. I'd be interested to see how a write would be able to get as much material. I think I don't know. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, there's definitely.
I imagine it'd be a struggle a little bit, which could be interesting and dramatic.
Well, I think we've got some good momentum to go forward for next time, right? We know what we want to have. I've got a few events here that I haven't quite thrown in at you guys yet, so depending on how things work out for next week, we'll do some more Numenera then.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so good stuff. I figured out the sound partway through, thanks to Bonnie. Thank you,
Yeah.
Bonnie, for our help on that. And then we've got this. It's going to go as a VOD, so if you guys want to watch it on Twitch, you'll be able to do that. And then sometime in the next couple hours, I'll get it uploaded to YouTube, so it should be on the YouTube channel too. If you guys really need to look for me on YouTube, it's YouTube/HansChun, just like everything else. And that way we'll keep all these things together for our own posterity's sake and in case anybody gets really interested.
Great.
Okay, so let's see. Talking about each other, Zan, do you have anything you want to plug or anything you want to talk about before we head out?
Not currently, but
Okay.
I'm sure I will at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. There's a charity stream going on right now.
Okay, nice.
I think. Give me a second to find the information.
Is it over on Welcome to the Party?
Yeah, it is. It is
Awesome.
it's a charity fundraiser for one of the Welcome to the Party members for medical expenses, I believe. And it's a lot of really cool. I believe it's one shots, different DMs kind of popping in and just running, quick homebrewed stuff.
Cool.
But I'm going to be going over there after this to watch and donate to that. So if anyone is interested, I'm sure
Thanks
we
for
can
reminding me,
find
because
it.
I always need to remember the idea that you throw a stream over to a raid at the end. So we should do
Yeah,
that.
so if
That
we
would
could
be
raid-
good.
should do that.
Yeah, I am the worst at that. So if you guys ever remember that at the end, just let me know, because I am not good. Nit, you got anything you want to talk about?
No, nothing really to promote. I mean, if you guys want to follow me, I've been posting a lot of miniature painting over on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at @knit_knack on over there.
Yep, just like it is on the
Yep,
overlay.
that's-
And one of these days I'll set up a
Yep.
shout out thing so that we know how that works. But yeah, you got some cool Warhammer-y stuff that's going on right now, right?
Yeah, I've been really obsessed with painting some Warhammer. Like, those figs are so nice and so much fun to paint. I'm just, yeah.
And I am bad at this. Is this technically Age of Sigmar? Is that the line that you're painting in?
Yeah, that's their fantasy stuff, I think.
Cool.
Mm.
I'm
And
old
I don't
and-
play the game at all. I'm just like, the figures look really cool, and like, I really want to paint them, and like, they work for D&D a lot better than like some of the Reaper Bone stuff.
There you go. And you got to watch out
Yep.
too, because there's going to be pretty soon a Age of Sigmar role-playing game.
Yeah, I saw that was posted. I'm really interested in seeing how they work that out.
Yeah, sorry, Kale. Kale's trying to
I
do
give
the
that a
shout out
shot.
for you. I am just bad at this. He tried to do a shout out for you, and I just don't have anything set up.
That's fine. That's
Yeah,
all.
but it was very nice. Thanks, Kale. So
Thank you,
yeah,
Kale.
our goal, we've got Numenera. We'll try to do this
Kale
again
knows
next
what I look
week.
like now.
I know. I mean, yeah, we can like screen cap you and just stick it on your Twitter, and it'd be great.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we at? We're going to try to do this weekly. The channel is going to be open to more people if people want to join in. Oh, okay. So Kale's not supposed to be able to do that. I wonder if I can do that then. All right, let's see if I can do it.
I mean, hey, Kale, if you want to come play with us.
Yeah, and does that work? I don't think it works when I do it either, because Knitnack is not even a known human being in this stream. So we'll just leave it like that. It's a thing. You can go look for him on Twitter. And yeah, if people
You either land on me or on some lady who hasn't used her account since 2013. So
Oh, okay. Well, at least you know who the other possibilities are. So that's good.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll do this next week. If people want to join in and they're interested in playing Numenera, get with me and we'll figure out how to fit you into the schedule. But we're going to do Sunday mornings, Numenera, Untold Legacy. And it's a legacy game because we're going to see this progress week by week. And it's Untold because you guys got to pick some stuff, but I want to have some fun stuff too. So it's not necessarily the most creative title, but it works for now.
I think it's fun.
All right. Well, everybody is awesome, and I appreciate everybody who's watching, and thank you guys for playing, and Kyle, who we have lost right now, but such is life. And I don't have a going out screen, so we're just going to say goodbye and disappear. We got to do our raid, though. That's something I will forget about again. So we're doing a raid, which I /raid. Welcome to the party.
So when we raid, how much loot do we get? Like, that's...
I hope a lot. Let's make sure I get the channel name right. I'm going to open them in another window real quick so I make sure I get the channel name right. Welcome Party RPG. See, I would have gotten it wrong. Yeah, I knew it wasn't what I thought it was. So if you guys want to see some charity fundraising at Welcome to the Party, they're doing that in just a second. And it's going to go and do its thing. And if you guys don't, that's cool too. We've got 4 seconds, so this is where we all wave and say bye.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks again. And I push a button. Okay, and now that I have pushed the button,
Awesome.
I am going to stop.